So the Internet computer, as of a couple of days ago, actually achieved yet another milestone, which was how it actually processed over 1,400 transactions per second, according to something called ChainSpec. The reason why I think this matters, I'll explain in today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice and I'm not telling anyone to do anything. So again, something called ChainSpec recently made a post talking about like that week, as of a couple of days ago, the Internet computer actually, in terms of transactions per second, it was so impressive to the point that it was actually ranked second in the world according to that, right? So Solana led the week with 1,685 transactions per second, but the Internet computer was kind of a close second at 1,424. That seemed quite legendary to me, at least, because if we consider, right, the Internet computer is not a top 10 project. It's not top 20, not even top 30. I mean, not even top 40. You know what I mean? So we're talking about a project here which really isn't even anywhere close to the top 10 as of right now, but yet in terms of its statistics, it's pretty impressive. And it showcases that, okay, it may not have the popularity, but it could maybe compete. That's two different things, right? Because some other projects out there, they have the amazing popularity, but it doesn't really mean they could compete on a fundamental level. It's just completely different. It's like, for instance, is Volvo the most popular car company out there in the world? No, I don't think so. But can it compete with the likes of a BMW, a Mercedes, let's say in the case of a Audi? I don't see why not. I mean, I still find it to be a very impressive vehicle. That's the thing. I mean, it may not have the mainstream popularity of those vehicles, in my opinion, arguably, but it doesn't mean that it can't compete. So I kind of view it no differently when it comes to the Internet computer. I just don't know why people like to say, oh, it can't really compete. Well, actually, I do have a hypothetical reason why. Let me correct myself there. And I think it's actually because it's not as popular. So oftentimes people kind of consider, oh, if something's not as popular, that means it can't compete. But I think sometimes the numbers showcase a different story. And case in point, I'm seeing those different, numbers, or I'm seeing those numbers, I should say, when it comes to what ChainSpec posted recently. So I found that quite impressive. Now, people like to tell me, though, but if this is so impressive, why isn't the price doing much? Now, surprisingly, actually, in the past 24 hours, it recovered around 3%. So, I mean, it's not that good in the grand scheme of things, but it's not bad considering how a lot of other projects out there are down like around 5% in the past 24 hours. I mean, this is not too, I guess, much in the grand scheme of things, but still something that I'm taking a look at nonetheless. However, again, in the grand scheme of things, the Internet computer, to me at least, on a fundamental perspective, I do find it quite impressive, personally for me, just based off the recent metrics that I saw, or the recent statistics, I should say. Now, is the Internet computer doing the best in terms of price? No. However, a lot of other projects out there are also not doing the best. I mean, if we take a look at it again, the Internet computer around $2.27. Let's just say for simplicity's sake around $2.25. It is still approximately, right, 4 times away from what it was in November of last year. So the journey just back to November of last year is still quite far. That's the thing. And November of last year wasn't such a good time, by the way, when it comes to the Internet computer. So we're talking about a project here that is still having a lot of unanswered questions, but I don't mind, because by me dollar cost averaging, I want to believe in some projects that have some unanswered questions, because the more unanswered basically the questions are, sometimes the journey to a hypothetical ceiling seems quite far in some arguable cases. But you know what? The Internet computer never really needs to break any sort of new records, in my opinion. Like $9 is not breaking any sort of records. Keep in mind, does anyone think that back in November, the Internet computer was top 5 in the world, top 10? Absolutely not. No way. It wasn't even close. So if we take a look at that right there, the Internet computer back in November of last year was not overtaking Solana. It wasn't overtaking BNB and all this. It just wasn't. Yet the journey back to there is around 4 times from right now, which to me showcases that this doesn't even really need to break any sort of records, just going back to $9, if it could even maybe do that, who knows? This is a random hypothetical after all, but I'm just saying, if it goes back there, it does not need to ever overtake Cardano and all this. If it just goes back there, I'm already quite enthusiastic, I would say. And that's just largely part, or should I say, a large part due to the fact that the internet computer is so low. Arguably, of course. Now, I'm not saying this is just low for the sake of it. I mean, let's just take a look at it mathematically speaking, right? The all-time low is $1.98. Where $2.27 might be different though by the time I upload this video, but I'm just saying, this is just 29 cents above its all-time low. So when I say it's quite low, relatively speaking, compared to its all-time low, yeah, I would say it is, right? Arguably. Now, could it go lower? I have no idea. Maybe. But I'm just saying, comparing it to its all-time low, which is literally the lowest it's ever been in history, it seems like it's quite close to there. That's just my mindset. Well, I mean, that's just what I'm seeing, right, in terms of the numbers. Now, if I take a look at it, again, people like to say, well, no one really cares if the internet computer was able to like process basically over 1,400 transactions per second not that long ago. But again, I think these numbers do showcase that, again, the internet computer might have the capabilities to actually compete with some of the other bigger players out there. It may never become more popular, but it showcases that the fundamentals are hypothetically maybe there. And when I take a look at cloud engines, when I take a look at how that's planning to be launched, hopefully soon, when it comes to this, when I take a look at Caffeine AI version 3, OIC version 2.5, I take a look at the upcoming multi-dex. Dfinity is doing a lot of things. Keep in mind, they're not playing around. So when I take a look at something like this, do I think they're playing around? I don't really think so. Okay, the price isn't doing the best, but I'm still waiting anyways. So yeah, I'll gladly wait. I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait, but you know, I'm still waiting regardless. But again, seeing that update recently by ChainSpec, showcasing how many transactions per second the internet computer was able to kind of basically facilitate, I just thought it was pretty impressive, and I think it showcases kind of the fundamental qualities. But yeah, besides that, I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very good day. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.